How to eliminate adrenal fatigue? That is a question I get asked all of the time. And in a world full of stress, you may be thinking that you're going to have to just deal with adrenal fatigue or exhaustion the rest of your life. If that sounds like you, then you are in the right place. I am going to show you during today's video how to end adrenal fatigue once and for all. Hi, I'm Dr. Kelly Shockley, Doctor of Cause, chiropractic, board certified in sports medicine and specialized in clinical nutrition. In this video, I'll be answering the question, what are the signs and symptoms of adrenal fatigue? There's far more to it than just being tired all of the time. Next, we'll discuss what the two biggest aggravators of adrenal fatigue are that you honestly should be avoiding like the plague. And then I will share with you what foods are actually good at supporting normal adrenal function. And finally, I will be sharing with you the only way to truly end adrenal fatigue once and for all. Let's get started. What are all the different signs and symptoms of adrenal fatigue if it's not just feeling tired all the time? It's such a good question. And you guys, there is so much to it. So the adrenal glands, let's talk a little bit about where they're at and what they do. They look like party hats. They sit on top of your kidneys. So they're like way back yonder. But part of their job, the job that we know them much more readily for, is their ability to flip our body into what's known as flight or fight mode. So when we're stressed, they kick us into a survival mechanism. And while we're in the survival mechanism, the adrenals produce a lot more of what's known as cortisol. That is your stress hormone. Cortisol in this instance is needed because there's several different functions that are changing right now. Literally, your body is getting ready to fight something or to hightail it back to safety. And then whenever that stressful episode is over, the body can calm back down. And once we know we're safe, we kick back out of this flight or fight function. And during those times, our adrenals are responsible for so many other things. They're responsible for helping us with digestion, for helping our body be able to decide when it needs to be inflamed and when it doesn't, because inflammation is the first part of healing. But long-term inflammation is devastating and leads to all forms of disease and illness. It helps with being able to detox the body. It plays an intricate role in digesting all of our proteins, our carbohydrates, our fats. There's hormone balance that comes as a result of it. It helps us be able to be sleepy at the end of the day and be able to wake up at the beginning of the day. Like the effects of the adrenals when they are functioning outside of the survival mode are widespread. There's not one system in the body that they do not touch. So what does adrenal fatigue look like? Well, if the adrenals have been living in this flight or fight mode for an ongoing period of time, and they've been producing so much cortisol for this ongoing time, they're not able to do their other jobs. So we start to see symptoms manifest all throughout the body. One of the common ones I'm sure you've already experienced is digestive problems. And part of the reason for that is when the body's in this flight or fight mode, it takes blood flow and moves it away from your digestive system. It brings it into your arms and into your legs because you're literally getting ready to fight or flee, even though if you're not really going to do that. So if you don't have adequate blood flow in the digestive system, nothing about the digestive system is working properly. So you can experience all kinds of different digestive types of symptoms, whether it's gas and bloating, constipation, diarrhea, belching, like acid reflux, you name it. Underlying adrenal fatigue could be part of the problem. If you have aches and pains all of the time, or you work out regularly and you seem to just be sore and it lasts a lot longer than what you remember it lasting, it's probably not that you're getting older. That could be a sign of an underlying adrenal fatigue type of an issue. It regulates sleep, as I mentioned. So one of the other things that is super common for people who are dealing with adrenal fatigue is some disruption of sleep. Now, you could be kind of a few different patterns of this, and they all tie back to the adrenals being overworked. So the first one, maybe you're the person who lays down at night, but you have a brain that continues to work, and it's figuring out all the things you got to finish doing for the day, prepping for tomorrow. Like there's no matter what you try, you can't get the brain to shut off. That could be an adrenal fatigue problem. Or maybe you're able to fall asleep, but you wake up at like 2, 3 in the morning, and all of a sudden you're wide awake. You know that's not when you're supposed to wake up, right? So why are you waking up at the same time every single night? That could be an adrenal problem. Or maybe that's not you at all. Maybe you can sleep like a brick and you can be in bed for 10 to 12 hours, but you get up and you feel like you haven't slept hardly at all. That lack of restorative type of sleep. That can also be an adrenal type of a pattern. So, as you see, there are a multitude of different symptoms you could be experiencing, not just tiredness, that could suggest maybe your adrenals are a bit tuckered out. Now we got to figure out, what are you going to do with that? But first, I'm really curious. Did you know that adrenal fatigue can create all of those different types of symptoms? Tell me your response down in the comments below. And maybe if you feel comfortable, throw out there one of the other ones I listed off that you've been experiencing. So again, just comment down below. I'm curious. Okay, so now, how do we start addressing adrenal fatigue? And first, we're going to talk about two of the biggest aggravators that honestly you should avoid like the plague. Though I will say it's a little easier said than done. And then I'll share with you the way you should be eating to support adrenal health. Okay, who are the aggravators? Well, they're probably your best friends, sugars and caffeine. How awful is this? Generally, something else that happens when your adrenals are fatigued, you start craving sugars. Now, you may have the sweet tooth or you may crave more salts. That's fine. At their root, they're the same. These are simple carbohydrate types of foods. Isn't that kind? Well, this is part of when you have too much cortisol in your system, a result or symptom that you can experience. But you need to avoid it like the plague for many different reasons. The other one is caffeine. Now, you don't crave caffeine, but the fact that you're probably not sleeping really well at night and either you're waking up or your brain won't turn off, or you can sleep for forever, but you still feel like you haven't slept, we can find ourselves reaching for caffeine. These two substances are great aggravators of the adrenal glands. Sugar is by far one of the worst things that you could ever put into your system for any health issue whatsoever. Like if you want to be healthy, you will not be eating sugar in mass amounts. Our ancestors, you couldn't even measure how much sugar they would eat in a year. Now the average American is consuming at least, and I'm sure this has increased because this is data that came from the beginning. Oh no, the late 1990s. We haven't gotten better. We're consuming at least 150 pounds of sugar every single year. That's frightening. And part of it's not your fault. It gets put into everything. It's hidden. You can even find it in meat, which is crazy. Like, why does meat have sugar in it? Doesn't make sense. The point being is sugar is really stressful to the adrenal glands as it is to the whole rest of the body. So you should be avoiding it like the plague. Easier said than done, because now your body's in a place where it's making you crave that stuff. And two, sugar is the most addictive substance known to man. And your body treats it as if it were a drug. So the best approach at getting rid of sugar is going cold turkey and being prepared that you might feel crummy for the first few days, generally no more than a week or so, as you work through getting off of sugar, because it's literally a drug for your body. Okay? Caffeine overstimulates the adrenal glands. And while you may be tired and trying to find a way to get through your day, caffeine is not the right answer, because all it's doing is it's keeping you in this cycle. Now, what should you be eating to support proper adrenal function? Super easy. All you need to do is follow these portions or these percentages when it comes to fats, proteins, and carbs. Okay? You want a high-fat diet, low carbohydrate, moderate amounts of protein. That could look like 50 to 70% of your calories coming in from fat sources, good fat sources, those healthy fats like your coconut oil, your grass-fed butter, avocado oil, extra virgin olive oil, nuts and seeds. And then 20 to 30% of your calories can be coming from clean proteins. This is like wild-caught salmon, grass-fed, grass-finished beef, bison, pasture-raised eggs that are cage-free, all that stuff. Clean proteins that have not been adulterated, they haven't been injected with anything. And then carbohydrates is always the sticking point for everybody. But lower carbohydrate diets, we have found for decades, guys, are the best form of diet for humans as a whole, for every single organ system in the body, for reducing inflammation, for improving cardiovascular health, for improving brain health, for reducing any risk of diabetes, for making your body composition be more in line of what's actually appropriate. Low carbohydrate. We're talking about 20% or less of your intake coming from carbohydrates, and the majority of these should be from vegetables. Not sugars, not grains, not fruits, vegetables. Okay? If you eat like that, you are going to eat not only ideally for adrenal support, but for overall health and well-being for your whole entire health. Now, before I get into the only truly way to address adrenal fatigue and end it once and for all, I just want to remind you to click that subscribe button down below, turn the notifications on. I am producing videos Monday through Friday for you guys, everything to do with adrenal exhaustion, gut health, brain health, you name it, all to help you achieve what I like to call total body mastery. So click that subscribe button and turn the notifications on. That way you don't skip a beat. Awesome. Are you ready for it? The only way to really end adrenal fatigue once and for all, especially because stress isn't going away anytime soon, is to understand the underlying cause of why your adrenals are fatigued. It's very fascinating because even in the world of alternative or functional medicine, many physicians, including myself at one point in time until I learned more, we only treat the adrenal fatigue. Well, in order for the adrenals to be as stressed as they are and being required to do all these things, there's generally more to the story. For example, maybe there's an underlying liver problem. The liver helps with regulating your metabolism. And if it's not doing its job, one of the last-ditch efforts by the body is to put the adrenals in charge of regulating metabolism. Well, that's going to stress and fatigue out the adrenals super fast because that's not what it was designed to do. So if we only ever address adrenal fatigue and we eat for adrenal fatigue, that should be really helpful for all things. But, there's lots of different supplements out there for adrenal fatigue, and programs for adrenal fatigue. And while those may be helpful for managing symptoms, it's still just managing symptoms. Managing symptoms is not the same as addressing the underlying cause. Here's the thing. If you're not testing, you're guessing. And what I say by that is, sure, there's all kinds of adrenal tests that you can do. Like you can flash a light at the eye and watch both pupils. The pupil should close as you shine the light in the eye because you don't need as much light. And it's controlled by a muscle. When you have adrenal fatigue, what will happen, instead of this pupil constricting and staying more closed for 30 seconds, what you'll see happen is it will close and then maybe it does this oscillating thing, or it'll close and then open right back up. Sometimes when people's adrenals are really blown out, what I'll see happen is it just opens up instead of closing. Normally, these are people who are like uber sensitive to being out in the sun without sunglasses, light sensitive. Another test you can do for the adrenals is your blood pressure in a seated and then take it again immediately in a standing position. That systolic number, that's the top number, the big number that's generally always 3 digits. If your body is responding the way it should to change of position, which is something that is controlled or at least supported by the adrenal glands, that systolic number should increase by 10 millimeters of mercury, so by 10 points. So say you're 100 points, like 100 over 60 in a seated position, it should go to 110, and we don't necessarily care about the bottom number, what it goes to. If it doesn't go up by 10 points, then you definitely have adrenal fatigue. It's really clear that you have adrenal fatigue, probably more along the lines of adrenal exhaustion, if you stand up and that systolic number decreases. No wonder you probably feel dizzy upon changing positions. Medical world calls this orthostatic hypotension. They don't have any way to deal with that. So if it's an underlying adrenal problem, great. These are different tests for it, but we still need to know why are the adrenals being taxed so much. Then you could do the salivary tests that measure your hormones throughout the day that the adrenal is producing. So this testing is helpful, but it's not the type of testing that I'm talking about. In order to really understand what's causing the adrenals to be wiped out, you've got to look at your whole entire health all at once to see where are the systems breaking down. Where is the body robbing Peter to pay Paul? Because believe it or not, when your demands, your nutrient demands of your body are not being met, whether it's because you can't get enough food in or our food supply isn't as great as what it used to be, so you don't have the same nutrients. We live in an environment that is putting far more nutrient demand on our body than we've ever experienced before. Or maybe it's just purely because things are not working the way that they should, like your digestive system, so you're not absorbing the nutrients that you're even putting in. If nutrient demands are not being met, your body will break down tissues inside of it. So it will sacrifice itself in order to reprioritize nutrients, or I call them assets, to more important tissues in the body. So for example, let's say your hair is falling out, your skin's really messed up, and you can't grow nails for the life of you. Maybe that's a sign of an underlying problem. So instead of just taking, different supplements and using special hair products and using special lotions to try to strengthen those systems, maybe you need to figure out why they're breaking down in the first place. Okay, so real quick question. What's more important, hair, skin, and nails, or let's say your liver? Yeah, totally your liver. What's more important, your muscles, your bones, your cartilage, your connective tissue, or let's say your liver? You can comment down below too. Play along. Totally the liver. The one that always throws everybody off is this one, and it relates very much to your adrenal gland. Hormones or your liver? Which one do you think your body would pick? Comment down below. Hormones or liver? If our hormones are out of balance, we feel awful. Somebody who doesn't have proper hormone levels, you give them those hormones back, oh man, they feel amazing. But guess what? Your body will break down hormones to take care of the liver. And when I say the liver, I'm not purely just meaning the liver. Maybe I didn't give you full information for demonstration purposes, right? When I talk about the liver, I'm talking about all of your organ systems. Your heart, your kidneys, your pancreas, your spleen, your brain, your gut. If their demands are not being met, your body will break down your hormones, your muscles, your bones, your cartilage, connective tissue, your skin, your hair, your nails, to reprioritize those nutrients to your organs to try to keep you alive. Adrenals produce hormones. So if there is some other issue going on, whether your world is totally stressful or not, hormones are one of the tissues that the body sacrifices to meet the demands of the organ system. So you have to look at you as a whole to really figure out where are the problems, what needs to be addressed, where do I need to fill in the holes. That is ultimately how you're going to rid yourself from adrenal fatigue once and for all. Now here's the thing. You're probably sitting there going, well, how in the world do I do that? And I'm not entirely sure. Like, my doctors tested me. Everything came back fine. What does that look like? Well, I have just the answer for you. If you look down in the description below, click it so it opens up. There will be a link in there for my 5-day health challenge. Okay. You can get immediate access to this. And it doesn't, we're not in class for hours and hours and hours. It's actually really short and sweet. There's some homework that goes along with it that makes this more real for you. And what I am doing is I'm teaching you the process of how you actually proper test. How do you understand those tests? What should you be looking for in those tests? And then based off of that, we'll know what kind of plan you need to move forward. Like, what kind of lifestyle factors need to change? What kind of diet do you need to be on? What type of nutrients do you maybe need to be taking because your body needs more of and you can't get them out of your diet? By the end of this 5-day health challenge, you'll know exactly how to determine what is causing or what is the underlying cause of your adrenal fatigue and what your roadmap is moving forward to be able to start having health again and to get rid of the adrenal fatigue once and for all. So don't stress. I got you. Okay. Just click the link down in the description below and I'll see you on the inside. I thank you so much for being here. Take care. Have an awesome day and God bless.